Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer. Welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I learn a little bit more about somebody else's perspective on movies. And joining me this time is my friend Erin. This is Erin's third time coming on to the show for this interview. Erin, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. It's fun because I know a lot of the time, well, most of the time I'm interviewing people who like literally spend almost all of their free time watching movies. So sometimes it's nice to actually like get some perspectives on like people who just like, I like to watch movies sometimes and getting that kind of perspective and don't like watch hundreds of movies every year. So, but Aaron, so this is an interesting one then, because I don't know how often you do this, but if you had a whole day open to have a movie marathon, what would be the theme of your movie marathon?
Okay, so I don't do it often, and that I
Yeah,
was a little hesitant with the movies because I was like, oh boy, I don't spend all my time watching movies.
that is
Um,
not all of us do.
not all of us are so lucky. Um, but when I was thinking about that, or this one, I guess I lean more towards rom-coms or feel-good
Mhm.
movies, which feels a little like of a cop out, but if I'm gonna spend all day watching movies, I like watching movies. I'm probably a little bit anxious, so I like watching movies I've already seen before because I
Mhm.
already know what's gonna happen. I know
Fair.
it's got a happy ending. It's just I love the ones that are feel good, ones that maybe also are like maybe geared more towards kids, because then you
Mhm.
definitely know it's gonna be like a happy ending and everyone's gonna come out okay. So if I had to do a whole day, that's probably the realm I would stay in.
Hey, that's perfectly fine. We enjoy some feel-good movies, and honestly, there's probably times where I feel like I wish I spent more time just, throwing on some of my comfort movies. And like
hmm
it feels nice being like, I love this movie. I know I love this movie. I'm gonna have a fun time watching this movie. So,
Yes,
uh,
and we all have our staples, right? So you're just like, oh, I just got those banked for when I just need to just chill out.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched Shrek 2 twice in the past like 3 months, and I'm just like, yep, because I love Shrek. So
I appreciate that.
now, Aaron, imagine that you have a friend who has never watched a movie ever. What movie would you recommend to them?
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go with Good Will Hunting. And I also thought about this because I was visiting my good friend probably almost a year ago, and she'd never seen it. Now she'd seen movies, but she'd never seen
Yeah.
this movie. And I don't know what got into me. I was like, no, we have to watch it tonight. Like that, we're staying in. That's what we're gonna do. Because I'm like, if you haven't seen this movie, you have to see this movie. So when I think about this question, I was like, maybe that's it. That might be the one.
Oh, that's a great choice. I as we were talking before we were recording, it's my first week of the semester. And when I do introductions for my classes, I tell them to tell me their favorite movie because
hmm
I enjoy stuff like that. And I had at least one of my students who said their favorite movie was Good Will Hunting. So I'm like,
Oh,
nice.
good. I'm glad it's staying alive with the younger generation too.
Yes. Because then you think about that came out in 1997, and
Yeah,
that's
it came out when I was 3. So I'm like,
27 years ago. But uh and sometimes I'm just like I miss Robin Williams and just listening to
oh,
him just being like talking about his wife's farts and just
I
like
know, I love
the
it.
the imperfections. That's the good stuff. And it's just
hmm
like being in a long-term relationship, you're just like, yep, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I can
So
vibe with that.
absolutely. Now, I know a lot of people complain a lot that all we get is sequels and stuff like that. And like
Mm.
sometimes like why the hell did this movie get a sequel? But sometimes there's movies that were like, I really want another one of these. Aaron, can you think of a movie that you would like to see get a sequel?
Okay, so I struggled with this one,
Mm,
and I'm gonna break the question a little bit.
okay.
But I was like, I couldn't think of a movie because to your point, I'm like, every time there's a sequel, I'm like, this stinks. Like, I don't know, this isn't as good as I thought it would be. I'm usually bummed out. But you know what? I actually went with a TV show. I was
Okay.
like, a TV show that I'd love to have be a movie, was Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek. It's so good. It hits that feel good.
Mhm.
It's like just that right level of snarky that it's funny. And I was like, and I honestly cried when it like the last episode. And then I watched, they did do like a little like 1 hour, I think, documentary, and I watched that. Also cried during that. I was like, this is like too much. So I would love to see all those people get back in character again. And if they did a movie, hands down, I think it would be great.
What's funny is I immediately just had this stupid grin on my face because then I just started thinking about all the things that made me laugh about that show.
Oh,
It's
so
like,
good. It's so good.
just write it off. And just like,
It's a write-off.
it's a write off. It's just like, you don't even know what that means. Or just
So
like,
great.
cut it in. It's
Hmm.
just like, but what does that mean? Cut it in.
Yeah, you're just like, just keep going with it. And it's I was thinking of that show recently too, because I have one coworker and we'll
Mm.
just meme Schitt's Creek back and forth all day.
My
It's the
brother and
best.
I, Ethan and I just send Letterkenny memes back and forth to each other. I'm so sad that just ended. Just ended. It's way too fresh. But Schitt's Creek, Jess and I watched all the whole series during COVID.
Oh,
And
so good.
because we watched like all of 30 Rock, all of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, all of Schitt's Creek. It was a good time during a bad time.
Yes.
It needed some laughs. And oh my God, Schitt's Creek's amazing. Just the Levies. I love
Mm.
Eugene Levy. Johnny was my favorite character in that show.
Oh my God. I loved them. I couldn't even pick a favorite. I love maybe Moira. I loved them all. Like they were
The
amazing.
Bebe.
Yeah, Pepe. When she was the Pope for the wedding too, I was just like dying.
That movie she was in that season. The whole like
Oh my God.
crows or
The
ravens or
yes.
whatever the hell it was.
What was it? The reckoning or the crows? I don't know. The
Oh,
crows have
it was
eyes.
insane. Oh, I would love them to have like some kind of special or something. I'll
Mhm.
take anything because I
And
just
that's how I felt. I was like, I know this isn't really what you're asking, but I'm like, I will take anything from them.
that's okay. It could be see, I make the rules here, so it's perfectly fine. I overrule.
Perfect.
Now, Aaron, what's a film from your childhood that you have not watched in years that you most want to go back and watch?
All right. So speaking of COVID, my memory has gotten trashed. So I had to actually Google movies that like I was like, what were movies when I was a kid?
What did I
And
even
then they all
watch
came.
when I was a child?
Exactly. I was like, what came out in like the 2000s? So, and one popped up that I had kind of forgotten about, but once I saw it, I was like, ooh, that one. So it's called Hoot. I don't know if it's very common, like I don't know how many people have really seen it,
Is that
but
based
I
off
just
of a
remember
book?
it might be. It might be.
Because I distinctly remember a book called Hoot
Yeah, and it was
from.
about like they were saving owls like in an owl sanctuary and they got like the local police involved. And I just remember there's this one scene that gets me every time. The one of the like it's a young high schoolish age boy and the boy he befriends like when you first see him come into the movie is running barefoot. And I'm always fascinated by that and I think it's so cool and they live in Florida. And fun fact too, when I was looking up movies again, I was like, oh, this is a very young Brie Larson in this. Like she's
I
the
just saw
sister
that,
in
and
there.
Logan Lerman's in it too. I'm like, what the
Yes,
hell?
yes. So I'm like, okay, like this is very good. And yeah, I remember watching it as a kid and so I was like, you know what? It would probably be that movie.
I just so this is definitely based off of a book because I
Okay.
distinctly remember the cover of the book. And
Mm,
it's one of those like core memories where you're just like, oh my God, I probably saw that book sitting at a Scholastic book fair like 50 times.
a Scholastic book
So,
fair. Taking me back.
well, that was the point of the question, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
there we
right.
go. But no, like I don't remember that movie coming out, but I definitely remember that book. And now it's really weird thinking about like, oh my God, it's Logan Lerman and Brie Larson from 2006. So
Insane, right? I'm like, I didn't even realize that they were in it.
there you go. Now, Aaron, if you could visit any place from a movie, where would you want to visit?
Okay, so I love, and this is gonna be so weird because it's not even really like a travel destination-y
Mhm.
place. Um, the lake house, I would love, like any lake house, I would love to go to. And then it's between that and between I just recently speak of watching a feel good that I've seen a
Mhm.
million times and that was nice was I just recently rewatched It's Complicated. And every time I watch that movie, I'm like, I love Meryl Streep's house in that movie. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. She's redoing it. She's got somebody redo her kitchen. She knows how to make chocolate croissants. I'm just like, I want to go to that house. So for me, it's more about like a relaxing, like
Yeah, that's
nice like
fair.
house or home. Yeah, versus destination.
She does have a nice house, and I want Steve Martin to redo my house too.
Right? She has that calming presence. You're like, he would do a good job.
And then he smokes weed, and then he turns into Steve Martin.
I love it.
That's a fun movie. Like,
Love that
it's,
movie.
that's just one of those kinds of movies where it's just like, is this trying to do anything like super deep or anything? No, but I'm having a great
Nope.
time watching Meryl Streep trying to balance her feelings for Steve Martin and her ex-husband Alec Baldwin, who curls up naked next to her laptop and flashes Steve Martin.
I love it. I also have to tell you, because it's so funny, every time I watch that movie, I think of if you've ever watched the show New Girl, in New Girl, Schmidt at one point is like, you're watching the movie, it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's about a bunch of rich white people redoing their kitchens. And I always think of that. I'm like, he's not wrong.
So what's interesting is I just did some of my podcasts or Scribe with my buddy Jeff, and it was Jake Johnson's new film, Self-Reliance.
Oh,
And so
okay.
like he was telling me, and he's like, "Have you watched New Girl?" I'm like, "No." It's like, "You should definitely watch New Girl." Is Schmidt and Jake Johnson's character? Because I could 100% hear him saying that.
Oh no, it's actually Max Greenfield's character.
Oh, there you go. Is
But
it
I will tell you,
complicated?
A,
Not necessarily. That's actually it's a pretty accurate description of that movie, though.
so accurate. And I'm gonna send you after we get off this to a video of Jake Johnson and Max Greenfield interviewing about New Girl. It's hilarious. You'll die.
Perfect. Now, speaking of watching movies when you were younger, what's one that you watched when you were too young?
Oh my God. Okay, I can't. I want to say it was The Ring, but it might have been the one with the girl that comes out of like water or something too. I think that was The Ring.
Yeah. Are you thinking of The Grudge too?
I
Because
might be thinking of The Grudge. I
because The
might be thinking of The
Ring's the
Grudge.
one. So this is actually very funny, Aaron, because I had never watched The Ring before.
Oh.
And I literally just watched it like 2 weeks ago for the first time, and I was too young then. Uh, I'm sitting, so it got recommended. So for my podcast with my buddy Rowan the Wasteland, our friend Heath's coming on, and he picked The Ring because he knew neither of us had watched it. I'm just like, shit. So now I actually have to watch this. And I'm
God
sitting
damn
there
it.
that night halfway through it, and I'm messaging both of them. It's like, thanks, Heath. I appreciate your recommendation.
I can't sleep now, but it's fine.
No, I had to watch
Speaking of
something
which,
afterwards.
oh God, yeah, you gotta calm down. I watched it at I think like sixth grade, maybe. I'm sure some people are like, that's not, old enough or whatever, but I was at a sleepover and I just remember like
Of
not
course
sleeping
it
the whole
was.
night. I know, I was just kind of like, it was so bad.
Of course it was. That's like the most adolescent story ever. It's like I went to a sleepover, watched The Ring.
Yep, classic.
Because like I watched Scary Movie 3 so many times, which completely tore down The Ring and made fun of The Ring in it. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that scary. I'm sitting there as a 32-year-old watching this for the first time, just being like, nope,
Nope, I'm good.
I could have been just fine not watching this. But alas, I did. And I did it for my podcast. So, Rowan and Heath out there, hope you're both happy. Uh, now, Erin, what's a film that legitimately you feel like made some kind of impact on your life?
Um, this one was a hard one.
This is
'Cause I
where I
watch
have
a
to
lot
get
of
a little
feel
deeper.
Yeah, well, and I like watch a lot of feel good movies. I'm like, I don't want anything with a major impact. Got enough to deal with. But I'm gonna go with, and not because I have like a particularly strong connection, but I was just talking about it with my boyfriend's mom the other night, and I was like, oh my God, I do remember this movie really well, and I do think about it a lot, which is says a lot because I don't have a good memory. Beautiful Boy with Steve
Oh,
Carell and
with
Young to be.
yeah.
Hmm. And I feel like that one made an impact on me more so too because, you know, he gets the young son gets addicted to drugs and just A, you watch the father struggle, and B, he in particular gets addicted to crystal meth, which like I just knew nothing about it, right? And like I don't know anyone who does it or any, right? So you just, you're stepping into a world you don't know. And just the fact that you realize like, why maybe it also becomes so addictive, the rewiring of the brain and how it just like it becomes next to impossible to quit. And I don't know, it just opens your eyes. It makes you realize a lot more things.
That certainly was the not feel good movie of
Yep.
when that came out. That was
Yep.
that and Call Me by Your Name were like the dawn of the Chalamet, and now it's like
Hmm.
everywhere.
He's
But
everywhere.
no, like those kinds of things. Um, there's a movie. I think it's Ben is Back. It had Julia Roberts and Lucas Hedges and it. Came out a little bit before COVID. It was another one of those kinds of films like she's a mother trying to deal with her son who has a drug addiction. It's just like, oh, every couple of years, movies need to remind us that
Just shot in the heart. Like,
just like parents struggling with the fact that they think they're terrible parents because their kids did drugs. Um, but no, I
Mhm.
remember Beautiful Boy coming out, and Timothy Chalamet and Steve Carell were amazing. I love Steve Carell so much, and it's so great seeing him do things that are not just I'm Michael Scott. Um,
Yes.
and he's such a great actor though, and that movie definitely like rips your heart out.
Showed his,
So
and yeah, and showed his range. I totally agree. Yeah.
so now time to thinking about I don't know if this is the same answer to a question from earlier, but what movie would you like to see turned into, well, so actually this is the opposite. What movie would you like to see turned into a TV show?
This one's hard. I struggled,
Mhm.
but I am gonna go see, is it Mean Girls the musical or whatever it
Mhm.
is out in theaters? So I
I
think
feel
that's
like
the
Mean
answer.
Girls is the kind of it's like you just have it. It's like dealing with all of the
Yeah.
high school drama and stuff like that.
Feels like you could keep it going too. Like it'd be a
Mhm.
good show, right? So,
Oh, if they turned like the original Mean Girls into a show, I'd watch that shit. Like
me too.
without any pushing or anything. I had a fun time with the new Mean Girls movie. Didn't love it. Um, I don't know how well it translated to like Gen Z of
Mm,
like not gonna lie, I got bullied a lot. Like
mm-hmm.
a lot growing up. There was definitely a lot of mean people in school. Mean Girls made a lot of sense in 2004.
It
It's a
did.
big different kind of experience now. And I feel like they missed out on the opportunity of really showing like where all the bullying is really happening online.
Mm-hmm.
Just look
Mm-hmm.
at the
I know I haven't
comment
seen it
section of anything.
at anything. So that's good to know because like I said, I'm gonna go see it in a few weeks. So I'm excited.
Well, I hope you have fun and enjoy it.
Thanks.
It's a fun time. I, it was unexpected seeing like Megan the Stallion popping up multiple times in this Mean
Oh
Girls
shoot.
movie.
Love it.
Because she is the Black Regina George, as she self-professed herself. So, yeah.
Great. Love it.
Now, I figured this would be a nice question that you'd appreciate. What is your favorite film romance? Or was
Oh
this a hard
God.
one?
This was a hard one because I watched so many rom-coms and then I'm like, what's good, what's not good? Um, so I picked one that I don't know if it's my favorite, but the feeling might be my favorite. So let me put
Mhm.
it that way. So I picked Dear John, the Nicholas
Okay.
Sparks adaptation. Mostly because like they don't end up together necessarily. I mean they leave on a cliffhanger like
Mhm.
you know maybe they did. But she ends up marrying somebody else and just like I love movies that show that like love where he still cared for her and still was doing a lot for her even though it didn't work out. And there was no bad blood. Like she didn't necessarily do anything wrong, but it was just very intense emotions, very big feelings. I really like that.
Absolutely. I know similar kind of like love doesn't always work out, which is why everybody loves La La Land.
Yeah.
Ending definitely hits that vibe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I can say I have seen one Nicholas Sparks movie,
Which
and
one?
that is The Lucky One. And
Oh, I thought you were saying The Notebook.
no, I actually have never watched The Notebook. So
You have to watch it. You have to watch it.
I'll add it to my infinitely long list of movies. Um,
Good.
but I saw The Lucky One opening night when that came
Mm.
out because was this freshman or sophomore year of college? I think it might have been spring semester freshman year. I had a bunch of female friends that I made my freshman year of college, and they all wanted to go to see Lucky One, and I went,
Mm-hmm.
and then completely regretted it because a bunch of other people went to go see 21 Jump Street. And I'm like, I would have had so much more fun watching 21 Jump Street. But
Okay, you get to hang out with all your lady friends.
I did. So it was a fun time. And Zac Efron. So there you go. Which
There you go.
what's interesting is one of my students told me when I was asking all their favorite movies said Safe Haven. And it was literally the only movie I had not watched that all of my students said, which that's also another Nicholas Sparks one. So I'm just like,
That is.
I'm pretty sure I know what that movie is, but I've never watched it. I'm like, and that was my response. I'm like, that one I haven't seen.
I
And
don't know that
like most of them are
one.
probably like, yeah, no shit. But I literally watch everything, so I've seen plenty. But Erin, my last question for you is, so
Mm.
theoretically, you get hired to teach a film class. So this is a fun, interesting adventure. What would like the theme of your curriculum be for your film class?
This one was hard because I feel like I am not a movie connoisseur such as yourself. So
That's fine. This is
I
why this is fun. So,
yeah. So I love witty and snappy and quick. Like
mhm,
Aaron Sor I think when we talked before, like Aaron Sorkin's writing and TV shows, love them. And his I mean he's done movies too, right? They're just quick, snappy.
mhm,
I like the quips. I also like the ones with a good story. So I guess I was thinking something quick and quippy along with like if I had to do movies, like I mean, I just like really love Good Will Hunting, The
mhm.
Town, The Departed. They also I feel like those also appeal to more people. Like I could do rom-coms, but I feel like I'd lose potentially
Yeah,
some males in the audience potentially. So I'm like, trying to keep it to like,
hitting
ones that
on
have a
some New England roots there.
yeah. Oh my God, I love the other problem too is I love a good Boston accent. So I'm like, all the movies I just listed, I'm like, more so I just love the accent too.
You like apples? I
How
got a
about them
number.
apples?
How about them apples? Young Matt Damon and Goodwill Hunting, something else.
Oh my God, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, like, I just love him. Departed. You got Leo, like,
The
just,
Departed.
yeah. The
You a
Departed,
quack.
Nicholson, yeah. God,
Oh my God. It's I feel like you can't say The Departed. You have to say
no, the
the
Departed.
Departed.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just start thinking about Mark Wahlberg,
Oh my God,
Sergeant
fucking love
Dignam.
him.
Oh my
So
God.
great. Yeah.
It's like, I'm the one who does my job. You must be the other guy. Oh my God. Now this is gonna spiral because now I'm thinking about Ted. Because that new series came out on Peacock and it's just this kid trying to not sound just like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my God, I love it. I saw that show out pop up on Peacock and I was like, I wonder if that's any good. for the accent alone.
I've heard a lot of like good things about it. Like it's getting honestly better reviews than the two movies did, which is interesting. But no,
Very
I've had so
interesting.
many clips of it pop up on my TikTok already. Like there's a
Hmm.
whole entire scene where they're at church
Hmm.
and they're talking about like how Jesus is the one and only to like come to life, and then Ted's like, "What about me?" And then it tries to tackle that. I'm just like, "Oh no!"
Big topic. Big topic.
But Seth MacFarlane doesn't care. So, but no, getting back to, yeah, I feel like you could do a whole entire Sorkin show and
Yeah,
Sorkin
right?
class between, The Social Network and
Hmm.
A Few Good Men, and then infinite amount of episodes of just The West Wing and Newsroom that you could look at.
Love Newsroom. I also have to say, if you don't mind, sorry, I'm gonna chime in. Um, I also love, I said I like to rewatch a lot of movies and shows. I think I also really love to rewatch Aaron Sorkin because I always miss at least a couple of the jokes or the
Mhm.
the comebacks or the quips like the first time around. So you're watching the second time around, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Every so often I wind up having like the opening scene from the newsroom pop up on my TikTok of just Jeff Daniels just being like, when the kids like the college kids like, why is America the greatest country on earth? And then that whole entire thing where it's just like, because we're not.
Yeah,
And it's just like the three things we lead in. I'm just like, ugh, this hits so hard in 2024. It's
it
uncomfortable.
12
Because
years later.
And it's also very sad that it hasn't really it
It
hasn't
hasn't
really
changed.
changed since then either. Because like all the stuff he brings up is true. We're lagging
Yeah,
behind in a lot of things
yeah.
because our education system needs to get, better,
Revamped,
revamped a
overhauled,
lot. I have a
redone.
lot of feelings about education in particular, seeing as I'm part of the higher ed system, and I'm the one who catches them all at the end.
Hmm.
It's like, what did you do for the past 12 years?
Where have you been?
I honestly don't know sometimes, especially during COVID, because post that, just been like, it's not
Nuts.
been good. But anyway, before we get too deep into that, but Erin, how I always like to wrap up this show is have my guest ask me a question. So, what would you
Ooh.
like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Mm. Oh, okay. What is your favorite rom-com? I feel like you're into all the movies, and we usually, you're talking Mad Max, talking all these. I would
Yeah,
love to know what your favorite rom-com is.
Crazy Stupid Love. I
Really?
love Crazy Stupid Love,
I
which
do really like that movie. Keep it in the
there's
family.
there's definitely one thread in it that aged poorly. Like the
Hmm.
whole like kid and his babysitter thing. That was weird. Um, Probably wouldn't have that in it this time around, but love Steve Carell. It does bother me on some level that it feels like the movie trying to like make him the bad guy in this situation when like his wife cheated on him.
I
He,
know,
he
I
got made a
know.
cuckold by David Lindhagen.
David Lindhagen. I
Lindhagen.
just, I love the fighting scene in the backyard when the cops
Oh,
like keep it in the family.
that is one of the best scenes in any rom-com ever because that legitimately is just like, holy crap, this is all connected.
Yeah,
And
so great.
didn't see that coming at all the first time I watched it. And, it's just like Ryan Gosling
Mm.
is amazing in that. And it's just like, hey, so your wife cheated on you with David Lindhagen. You know how I know that? Because you've been talking nonstop about it. And him taking him to get his whole glow up and everything.
Hmm.
And as somebody who wears almost nothing but New Balance, like
I
he's just like, Cal, what's with the New Balance? Are you in a fraternity? And he literally just chucks them off.
so
Just
great.
chuck them off. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Love this.
And yeah, I love my New Balance. They're comfy as hell and have big ass feet. I'm just
Hmm.
like, but no, I get it. And then that was like one of the first times like, look at go Steve Carell. Cause like,
Getting it, yeah.
he does, Cal doesn't do all the best things. He shouldn't have left Marissa Tomei hanging like that. And boy, did that come back to bite him.
Freaking hilarious though.
Hilarious.
Love
And
it.
then that moment when Kevin Bacon's just like, you make me want to get up in the morning. I'm an accountant. That doesn't happen. I'm just like, oh my God. Because when I saw that, I was still an accounting major, and I'm just like,
Getting too close to home.
getting a little too close to home here. But no, I love Crazy Stupid Love. I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which
That's a good
is
one.
like a strange rom-com because the thing is like it's strange because like I'm not really super invested in like Jason Segel and Mila Kunis in it, to be honest.
Mm.
It's the
Hmm.
journey though of him getting over being dumped
Oh,
and
so great.
all this like the little supporting characters. Just like you have like Paul Rudd just being like, "Hey, I'm Kunu. The weather outside is weather." It's just like, I just stopped wearing a watch. It's like, that's so cool. It's like, yeah, because I have my phone and that has the time on it too. I'm just like, oh, it's
So great. It's so great. But it's also the I love that one too. And I agree with you. I'm not exactly rooting for that couple, but it's just the fact that Kristen Bell's character coming back and trying to get him. It's just there's something about it that you're just like, this is a process and a journey. I appreciate it.
it's just so good. And I love Jason Segel. Jason Segel
Hmm.
needs to get more praise for things because like and oh my God, that whole montage at the beginning of the movie where it's like you wore the same sweatpants for 7 days in a row and just shoot him and then by the end he's just like no shall
Shall
not pass.
not pass. So great.
Big Gandalf by the end. And also, I feel for Peter and his giant mixing bowls of cereal. I'm just like,
Hmm.
I remember watching that for the first time. I'm like, am I not eating cereal hard enough? Like, why haven't I thought of using a mixing bowl to eat my cereal out of?
Feels like he's doing it right.
And then the whole moment where, like, because Jess had bought me those cereal containers when we were together the first time, and
Yeah,
I still had them throughout the whole
I love
time we
it.
were together. It's just like she bought me these so my cereal wouldn't get stale. I'm just like I definitely had moments like that. I'm just like,
I need to go crawl into a ball now.
so
Also, have to
okay.
comment if you like Jason Segel and you haven't watched Shrinking on Apple TV
Oh
yet,
my God. Shrinking is amazing.
it's the most amazing show.
I love like every single character in that, all the way
Same.
down to what oh crap, why do I keep forgetting his name? The husband of the neighbor who's just living his
Oh
best
my
life.
God. Everyone forgets his name. What's it? Dale or Dan or something with a D, I swear.
I'm looking it
But
up because like he's just casually peeing off the balcony of his
freaking
house. And,
love it. I love that show. I love when he throws up at his best friend's engagement party and he's like, I threw up. We know, but
and like Harrison Ford,
oh,
Derek,
Derek. I knew it
Ted
was a D.
McGinley. He's just like he is the most functioning one out of his whole entire cast. He's living his best life exactly how he wants to. And that moment where he calls out his wife, it's just like, honey, I've been doing all the work for all of this time. It's my time. I get to relax now. I'm just like, damn. Just
I
like,
I was not expecting that, and I was like, you know what? Truth. Good for him.
good for Derek.
Yeah,
Good for Derek. But no, Harrison Ford in that.
so
Oh,
amazing.
I didn't think that Harrison Ford had that gear in him anymore. Like
Mm-mm.
he killed it. Like I love listening to him and Jessica Williams singing Sugar Ray carpool karaoke style was
Amazing.
the most unexpected thing I have ever seen in the year 2023. And I'm just like, I did not think I would ever hear Harrison Ford singing Sugar Ray ever. And it happened. So there you go. And also, I love
Amazing.
Jessica Williams. Like that show made me fall in love with her. I'm like, I want you in
Oh,
more things and
get her in, get her in.
get her
The
in.
whole show, just amazing, amazing cast. I mean, I'm so glad you've seen it because I was like, if you like Jessica, this show.
That was one of the biggest surprises last year for television for me because I had no expectations. I'm like, oh, Jason Segel's in a new show, and then I'm just like devastated emotionally by the end of this first season, and then I'm laughing every 5 seconds too. And I'm just like, what's the show doing to me?
What's happening?
But Erin, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime. I'm so glad to be back.
It was a fun one, and thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.